Welcome to It's Upgrade Season, the only place to get raw and unfiltered advice on how to get your shit together 1 week at a time. I'm your host, Alexandria, and join me every Monday for The Upgrade and every Friday for The Wind Down, where I'm going to be answering your dilemmas. Small shifts, huge upgrades. Let's fucking do this. Welcome to The Wind Down.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for this.
Me too.
I know where it's going to go, but I also don't know.
Wild card. Let's see.
Wild card. I feel like I should actually create a wind down card deck.
Oh, fun.
Of like wild card questions.
Obsessed. 1000%.
That just come out.
Yeah.
But where I actually want to start with is, I don't know if that was a proper sentence. I'll try that again. Where I actually wanted to start with is,
yeah.
Does that make sense?
That's great. I'm with you. Yeah.
Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that I love that you're open and honest about is this period where you're looking for motherhood. Mm-hmm. And when I checked in, you were cool to talk about this.
Oh, yeah.
I was saying, I don't feel like many people talk about this. I feel like you talk about your pre-kid time where like kids aren't on the agenda. And then when you're a mother, you talk about being a mother. I don't feel like there's much talk about that preparation period.
Totally.
And I think it's actually a really important time.
Yeah.
So I'd love to know like how are you navigating this? How did you know it was time to start preparing? Like I have all the questions.
Yeah. I'm going to, be super real with your audience. So when I met Eli, I met him on the table of a modality called network spinal. Are you familiar?
I've heard of this before. It's to like move energy, right?
Yes. So it's, if you've never heard of it, imagine chiropractic tables, because it's a chiropractor who practices this modality, but it's very much like Reiki. So a chiropractor and a Reiki specialist had a baby that's like network spinal.
Oh my God. So hang on, were you performing it on him or was he performing it on you?
Neither. We were both receiving. So
Oh.
the woman who does it, her name's Dr. Jeannie. She's literally the most incredible practitioner ever. I'm biased, but she's incredible.
Hang on, is she in Austin?
She is.
Oh my God. You know what I'm hitting you up for?
It's like I'm about to blow you up, Dr. J.
Yeah.
Because she's just unreal. And people always lose it when they're like, how did you meet? And Eli always jokes, 2 Jews walked into an energy worker. And I'm like, yeah, that's how we met. So when we met, because the work that she does is very spiritual and very energetic, I always joke, I'm like, our souls met before we did.
Yeah.
And he apparently saw me on the table weeks prior. And I was like, babe, you didn't even see my fucking face. Like you just saw my ass. That was enough. I was fine. I was like, okay.
That is amazing.
So he asked Dr. Jeannie if he could have my number. And she was like, no, you're not ready for that. So she literally shut him down. And then I was dating casually this person at the time. We break up and then we walk into the network spinal. He's on the table next to me. I think he's cute, but I'm not thinking about this. I just went through a breakup.
Yeah.
And she gives him a softball. So she like cues him up during one of the sessions because she treats many people at once. It's just like the modality. And I was crying and laughing that day and like having this big release. And she goes, oh, Eli does that sometimes. And he like pops his head out of the table and waves. And next thing he's like in my DMs and we're going out and dating. But because of that, our relationship has been very spiritual from the get-go. Like we are not, we're as much muggles as we are connected to our spirituality. Like we love to drink and have a good time and eat pizza and just shoot the shit, but also can go into all of these crazy spiritual realms together.
You are my people.
Oh, amen. You are my people. And so because of that, the moment I want to tell you, it's going to sound a little out there, but we were at an energy like healing weekend where we went together. It's called The Gate. And it's where all of the network spinal practitioners from all over the world come. And there's 200 people and you're just getting in trained all weekend. And it's a really powerful weekend. And there was a particular session called the soul retrieval, like something around soul retrieval. And I get on the table and the practitioner's working with me and she says something about the soul. And I just said, I'm open for whatever message you have for me. And the first word that comes flying in is mother. Like I just hear it immediately, mother. And so I have these sweet tears and I'm just feeling the energy of mother. And the session ends. And in this particular session, they carry you off the table because they want you to feel really taken care of. So they carry me off the table and they lay me gently on the ground. And I'm having this moment where I swear I feel like I am connected with my future child. Like I feel their energy. So I have my hand up and I'm just like holding this little hand and feeling the energy of mother. And Eli comes behind me to just support me and love on me. He has no idea, mind you, what has just happened. I haven't said a word to him. And he comes up behind me and he whispers and he goes, "Oh, you're going to be the mother of my children." And that was the moment I was like, oh, our souls knew not all, but part of why we came together is to have babies. And so very early on in our relationship, this was at like the 7th month mark, we were talking about the kids we wanted to have and the babies we wanted to make. And I think he even joked on our second date. Mind you, our second date was in Italy. We just like full sent it.
Stop it.
Yeah, it was insane.
I'm sorry. This is like movie shit.
It was kooky. Like we had a crazy, just like fun first date. We ate pizza, drank wine, got fucked up, made out. It was just a fun night. And then he was like, by nature of my job, I'm going to be gone traveling for the next month. And my avoidant ass was like, bye, see him when you get back.
Have fun.
I was like, you're cute, but I'm not getting attached.
Yeah.
He goes off and he won't stop texting me. And I'm like, bitch, why are you blowing me up? And he literally goes, stop it. I want to talk to you. He's like, I don't need you to tell me to go off and enjoy my trip. I am, and I want to hang out with you. Yeah. So he, after 2 weeks in Europe, was like, hypothetically speaking, if I flew you out to come meet me, would you be a yes? I was like, hypothetically, send my ass now. Like, I'm going tomorrow.
She's not avoidant anymore.
No, yeah.
She's very present.
Healed my attachment wounds.
Yeah. How do you heal attachment wounds? A flight to Italy.
Literally healed. So he sends me to Italy, and we did Rome and Sardinia. Oh my God. Have you been?
I've been to Rome. I've not been to Sardinia. But anywhere in Italy, I'm like a yes to.
Oh, it's a dream.
Sold.
It's romantic. The food's amazing. And we were like on our way to dinner one night, and I forget what we were even doing. I think we were just like giggling, and he just casually says something like, "Oh, I'm going to put a baby in you." And I was like, come again?
Excuse me?
And then my avoidant tendency was like, absolutely not. I don't know what you're talking about. But I say all of this to share. We've been open and talking about kids for a long time. And I would say we started more seriously having the conversation in our second year. We're not engaged. We have a lot of plans to get married. Actually, in Italy is the plan.
Oh my God.
We're a full send kind of people.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, again, do it for the story. Like,
I adore, honestly, one of the most magical weddings I've ever been to is in Italy as well. So
where
I
in
just
Italy?
feel like it was near Florence, Tuscany.
Oh, that's where I want to get married.
Oh my God.
Okay, you're going to have to show me pictures.
Please do it.
Yeah.
Do it. I'm just like obsessed with this whole romantic story.
So good.
So you're full sending it. You're going to get married in Italy.
Yeah. And so we really started to talk about marriage, kids. And there was a chapter where I started to get hyper fixated on kids. And I started to almost let it like impact my life. Like I really got to a place where it was painful. Like I had told myself this story that my life will be better when I become a mother, and that's my purpose, and everything is just waiting until that day. And I also think your environment heavily influences you. And at the time, a lot of my friends were becoming mothers, and I'm about to be 35. Like my life is not how I thought it was going to turn out. I left my marriage at 29, like literally hit the reset button. So I like fully thought I'd be married with kids at this point in my life. Yeah. So I had to grapple with that. So anyway, I'm like telling myself this story of everything's really hard and I just want kids. And he was more of, we should wait and give ourselves space. He's looking very logical, analytical. What do we need to do to prepare? And then one day we're feeling frisky. We're like, let's have a little quickie. I'm not on birth control, so we use condoms when we're around my ovulation window. Yeah. And I had a call at 11. We're like having sex at like 10:55. It's like a real quickie.
Also, this is inspiring me. I would be panicking.
I'm not normally like this, so I have to say I'm usually a bit more. I need to be like wined and dined, and I think it's just because I was close to ovulation. I was just feeling
let's go,
freaky.
baby.
Yeah. So he grabs me. We're having sex, and he finishes, and I'm like grabbing my clothes, and he's just frozen. He's like looking at me. I was like, what's wrong? And he looks down and the condom has just disintegrated. Like I'm 35 years old. I have never had a condom break in my entire life. Yeah. I was like, I didn't even know they could do that. Like I heard stories, of course, but like, I was like, I thought this was as safe as it gets.
Yeah.
And I think the condom was old. I don't know. I was like, I don't even know where this came from. Like,
I love that. It was a quickie. You just grabbed what was around.
We didn't have time. And so I'm like, oh, I have to get on this call. But I am very much in the window of I could very well be pregnant because of what just happened. And so we go on our separate ways for the next hour. And then we come back for lunch and we're sitting at the table and I go, so do we want to talk about what just happened? And what was so crazy was it started to trigger for both of us. He went into like total protector provider mode, was like, you know what? This was our dharma. If we are supposed to have babies right now, so be it. I'm ready. I've got you. And I was like, I am not ready. This was not the plan. Very Capricorn Virgo of me. I was like, I have a plan. I had supplements. I knew exactly what I wanted to do. And then I was like, oh, fuck me. This was not what I had imagined. And then we ended up having a conversation with our little one. We were like, you know what? How do we want to approach this? So we go and we sit on the couch and we connect to the spirit of this baby. And we're like, listen, little one, here's what our desire is. And if you're dead set on coming, we'll be the best parents and ready for you. And spoiler alert, I was not pregnant. I did not get pregnant. But it really showed me you could chill and be okay and love your life. And your life is incredible as it is now. Yeah. And it showed him that he's way more prepared than he realized. So it was literally, I joke that our little one pulled a fire drill and was like, I'm coming, bitches. How ready are you?
I love this.
And I know you were sharing that there was, what was the phrase you used? I forget, in your pregnancy, of this miracle that you weren't necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
I was just laughing though when you were telling your story because you're like, can you imagine this Capricorn Virgo? I was like, I'm the Capricorn Virgo. And yes, I can imagine. And it was hilarious because I have the moment and of finding out I'm pregnant. And
was it a total shock? Like you had no clue?
No. So basically we had similar-ish kind of story in that maybe not similar, way less sensitive. So not on birth control, but I know my windows.
Yeah.
And we had been in Italy at the wedding.
It'll do it to you.
It's all coming back. We've been at this 4-day wedding. I am very much like you. I like the muggle realm and the spiritual realm. So I've been full muggle for 4 days.
Oh, yeah.
I've been drinking all the wine, eating all the pizza, living my best life. Yep. Honestly, one of the best weddings ever. Shout out Gail Milana. And then we flew straight to Ibiza to meet some friends.
Fun.
So I'm on the back of 4 days of this amazing wedding. Then get into Ibiza. We get to the hotel. We have sex. It's only afterwards I'm like, I haven't actually checked my app in a while. Like I should probably check what day I'm on.
Oh.
And I can't remember if it was on the day or the day after I checked my app. But anyway, we'd had sex on the day that has the ring around it of like most fertile.
Ovulation day, baby.
Yeah. So I had the conversation with Jake. I love how sensible you guys were, by the way, because we were way less sensible. Because we had the conversation. He was like, we can go get a morning after pill. And I was like, I don't want to take all those hormones. I've worked hard to balance my hormones. And I was like, I'm not fucking it up right now. I don't feel like that. And we would just look, if it happens, but who gets pregnant after one time?
Whoops.
So we were like, I thought I was in the all clear. When I got back to Miami, I did take a test, just like make sure I was okay. That was negative. Yeah. And then it was only 4 or 5 days later, my period was, I think, a day late.
Wow.
And they came in a 2-pack, the test. And I actually just took the test to make sure I was fine.
Yeah.
So I'm by myself. I'm in the toilet by my office, so nonchalant. I take it and it's pregnant and I go into full body shock. Full shock. Oh. But I had the moment very quickly of, okay, I want to keep this baby. I want to do this is how it's meant to be. But it was really funny because Jake went into the same mode of just, I got you, we got this, this is going to be amazing.
Yeah.
I went into shock for 3 days.
Yeah.
And I was like, this wasn't the plan. I had a timeline. I had funnels I was going to build. Babe, bitch was so obsessed with the funnels. So upset about the lack of funnels. I had fucking funnels I wanted to build. The funnels were not built. I was like so upset about the funnels.
Yeah.
I went on a 3-day spree of cleaning out all beauty products you couldn't use pregnant. And God bless Jake. Honestly, that man is a saint because he just was like with me in it. Like, okay,
all
let's
right,
keep checking the labels. Like, it was just mad. I was mad, bonkers for 3 days.
Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, it's a pretty phenomenal turnaround time from no idea to
Yeah, but I mean, it's just one of those things, isn't it? Like, you trust the timing, and I also trust the fire drills. Was it a fire drill?
Fire drill,
Yeah,
yeah.
I think that's such a good way of putting
Yeah.
it, because I do think sometimes you have to force these conversations. And I also just think how beautiful now that you've had those conversations.
For sure.
You know, that there's been that. I find it wild as women. We are taught our entire lives, do not get pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
Do not get pregnant.
Totally.
And then all of a sudden we're meant to switch into
Get pregnant.
Get pregnant.
Yeah. And it should be so fast.
yeah, it's such a context switch.
It's a mind fuck for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
And I think that you're in this preparation. I just think it's really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah. We also, to be transparent, we also had the morning after pill conversation, and I had the exact same thought. I was like, do you know how hard I worked to get to the place that I'm at?
Literally.
I'm like, I can't. And he was worried. He was like, I'm worried that we're going to end up saying yes to this baby and we're not fully ready. And so we did have hard conversations. The version that I shared was where we landed, which was like surrendered and the way that I like to live my life. But oh yeah, I was definitely fucking panicked at first. And now we're just in a much more calm place of, I think it's been really cool to see how women are getting pregnant later on in life. Like, I never saw that. My mom was a young mom. Her mom was a young mom. And I didn't have that imprint. And actually, one of my best friends, right after I lived in a van and then moved out of the van into an apartment with one of my only friends in Austin. And she was a doula. And that was the first time I got to be up close and personal with birth and like, what is actually healthy and what does it look like to have a woman give birth? And she made me watch The Business of Birth with Rosie O'Donnell, Ricky.
I don't know who it is, but I know it's not Rosie O'Donnell.
It's not Rosie O'Donnell. It's like Ricky something. She was a talk show host. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's a phenomenal documentary. And it basically shows how the Western medical system has just totally made a business out of women just had a total brain fart, out of women giving birth.
Yeah.
And it was so eye-opening. And then she opened me up to, I remember being in my bedroom and she's on call. She's a doula. And she had a woman on speakerphone. And this woman, it was like her 4th or 5th baby. And from what I can see, it seems to happen faster, the birth process. And she's on the phone with this woman, and the woman is in like very active labor. Was talking with this woman and coaching her through, and I could hear what the woman sounded like in active labor. And I just remember being like fascinated by it all, being like, wow, this is so special. And then one day, this is gonna sound honestly terrifying, but I came home one day and I was like, wow, something smells so good. I was like, what are you cooking? She's, oh, Bryn, I am.
I know where this is going.
She's like, I'm drying a placenta in the kitchen. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's not jerky. Noted.
Oh my God.
But it did. It smelled good in our
Did it
house.
smell nice?
Yeah, it did.
That's so interesting.
I loved
After
it.
I gave birth, my doula was off. She did not push me. My doula was lovely, but she was offering for me to look at my placenta. I was like, absolutely fucking no way.
like,
I've
no.
been through 63 hours of labor. I've just had a C-section. I am just like, I'm barely in the world. I'm just not ready to be looking at the parts of myself that came out. Husband, Jake, fascinated. Oh yeah, it does look like a tree. It does look like the tree of life. That just stood over my placenta.
Bless him.
I'm like groggy trying to breastfeed this baby with no idea what I'm doing. My husband's admiring my placenta. I'm just like, this shit's weird. This shit's so wild right now.
I once heard, it was like a guy friend in college, and he was talking about, he's like, there's 2 types of men. There's the men that stand behind the shoulders, and there's the men that stand down at the base. He's like, you got to know which kind of man you are up front. And Eli is definitely going to be down in the action.
Yeah, Jake's that guy. I think his mum always tells this story about when he was younger, he went to a cremation and he was fascinated, but like a little bit too fascinated. And that is him all over. Like, he wants to know what's going on.
Is he a Scorpio?
No, he's actually Aquarius.
Oh, yeah. Love that.
But he's so Aquarius, he doesn't even identify with horoscopes and being Aquarius.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's so Aquarius.
Well, in my head, I'm like, oh, he's like interested by death and darkness and like all the interesting things. And to be fair, as a little kid, I was always fascinated by death. Like I just thought it was so interesting, specifically Snow White, because I was like, she eats an apple and then goes somewhere. And I'm like, I want to know where she goes.
Oh my God, this is so deep.
Oh yeah. So I remember my mom said there was like a 3-month window where she would find apples with tiny bites out of them all over the house. And then she said, one day I looked down and you're just like laying next to the apple. And she's, thank God I knew what was going on. But she's like, you were just fascinated with what happens when you die.
I love Do you still have that fascination?
Maybe not to like the extent of what happens. I think doing psychedelics gave me more of an idea of like total ego dissolution and like being more up close and personal. Also having a near-death experience, I think, with COVID. And so I don't feel as fascinated anymore. I'm like, life.
I went close enough, thank you.
Yeah,
Reverse.
like, all right, we're good.
Where do you think we go?
Oh, God. I absolutely believe in souls, and I believe in souls having different karmic paths. So I'd like to think that we just go back up into the ether and ready for the next round, and whatever karma we end up having, I think can predict that. Beyond that, I don't really know, but I think that's why there's this sense of familiarity when we meet certain people where I'm like, I fucking knew you. I know you. You feel so familiar to me. I even thought of that like when Buddy died, I'm like, I would love to meet you again in another lifetime because we were just the best of friends. And it also, I think, gives peace, you know, when hard things happen of like, I'm not going to see you anymore in this round, but I'd like to think I'll meet you in another one.
That's so beautiful.
Do you have any ideas of what your perspective is?
I resonate with what you said there. I love the idea of souls and that we have, because also like the thing that I can never get my head around is less the death thing, but more just like the why the fuck are we here? Like when I really zoom out, I'm like, why are we living this experience? I'm like, why? And then my head literally hurt.
Oh, totally.
So I definitely feel like this idea, because also I'm like, yeah, we have a body biologically that works, but like why? There's just something that you can't put your finger on. So I feel like that's soul.
Have you been to Egypt?
No. Oh my God, it's so weird you say this. Everything is calling me to go to Egypt.
Ooh, goosebumps.
Yeah.
The most up close and personal to the question of like, why the fuck are we here? How the fuck did all of this come to be was when I went to see the pyramids in Egypt.
Really?
It was every single night, Eli and I would look at each other and be like, what the fuck did we just see? I listened to part of your episode with Jess Weig, who I adore. She's
oh my God, her Egypt stories.
Unreal. And I remember seeing it in real time as it was happening. And like, I did not have that kind of activation. I think it's really cool that certain people do, but it did absolutely make me start asking questions of, but how and why? And then eventually having to just close it and be like, I don't know, I need to fucking go to bed because I have no idea. And it literally hurts my brain to think about this.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
I did dissolve once though.
Tell me more.
This sounds so weird. So I remember, and I totally forgot this story. You know how like stories are really alive to you for a while and then they just lose their aliveness?
Yeah.
This is just re-alivened in what you were sharing.
Okay.
So I basically woke up one morning. Oh my God. Weird experience. I had my eyes closed. I was like, what the fuck is that? It's like, it's happening again. I'm dissolving. So I woke up one morning and I get sleep paralysis. I don't get it as much as I used to actually, but I did go through periods where I'd have like intense periods of sleep paralysis, which is fucking horrible.
Oh, so scary.
But I knew what sleep paralysis feels like. And when you have sleep paralysis, so basically, if you don't know what it is, like you're awake, but you're like trapped in your body.
Oof.
So you can't get yourself to wake up.
Yeah.
And it's quite like a frightening feeling. You're trying to get yourself awake. You feel like you can't move your body, like hence the word paralysis.
Yeah.
Weird experience. This wasn't sleep paralysis. So I like woke up, but it's so fucking hard to describe. I had just dissolved and there was just like nothing.
Whoa.
But it was peaceful, but it was also very empty.
Yeah.
It was just like nothing. Wow. And I remember thinking, have I died?
Wow.
And I was like, maybe I've died. And I was just like, but there wasn't any like intense emotion around it. There was nothing intense. Wow. It was just very, the only word I can use is just like dissolved. It was just like very nothingness.
That's beautiful.
But then I woke up, but I was already awake. Wow. And I was like, did I just, I'm not dead. I was like, well, that's something to celebrate. I literally was like, I'm not dead, so that's good. And I was like, that was weird.
Wins today. Didn't die.
Didn't die. Yeah. But then it's also hard to then go around your day having that conversation. Like,
you're like, how do I like brush my teeth after this?
But I'm also like, who can I talk to about this? Did I dissolve? Did I die? Did I visit a spirit realm? Is that what it is?
That's potent.
weird.
I've had that experience with breath work.
Really?
Yeah, where the first time I did breath work, I remember reaching that state of I no longer feel like I have a physical form anymore. And then being like, this is scary. And so then backing off. That's the beauty of breath work, is you just breathe less if you don't want to go as hard.
Yeah.
And then as I felt safer to do breath work deeper and deeper over time, I would reach that state of nothingness. And you're right, it's super peaceful. You're just like, oh, it's nice to not have a body all of a sudden.
Yeah, I'm going to put it out there. It's more boring than I expected.
Yeah, totally. I feel like, you guys, I've been enlightened. It's actually not that great.
Stop aiming for it. It's some more fucking wine. Have the pizza, because honestly, it was dull.
Like, not a lot happened. Yeah, you should write a book about enlightenment called "It Was Boring." The end.
The alternative path to enlightenment. It's just a book on hedonism. It's just the complete opposite.
And then we're done.
The guru's got it wrong. No, I'm joking. Like,
oh my gosh, that's so funny.
but yeah, no, it was the plus side very peaceful.
I'm
But
so
yeah.
here for this conversation.
I love that we've gone here, there, and everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wrap up. I could literally have this
Same.
chat forever, which
I
is why I'm
know.
gonna have to rein myself in. Honestly, thank you so much for joining me. It's been so much fun.
So fun.
Like on every level, and I'm just so grateful for your wisdom, your embodied wisdom. I feel like you just are truly one of those people in life who has lived these experiences and come out with these incredible stories. I feel that Glennon Doyle energy from you. So yeah.
Best compliment ever.
Yeah,
Thank
no, but I
you.
truly do. So thank you for joining us.